Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as promised, I'm doing a episode 2 of reading all the manga on my Goodreads list. I have the wheel right here. The wheel is going to pick out 6 mangas or manhwas or a mix of both for me to read. So I'm very excited and yeah, let's see what the wheel picks for me. So first one is Kindergarten Wars? Yes! Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to read that one. Okay. That was good. Ooh, The Horizon. Okay, I've heard some things about this one, but... Oh, yes. Okay, I've been wanting to read that one for a while. Not Your Idol. And I have it on my thrift books list, too. Ooh. Okay, good. This one is an old one. Okay. Alright, so these are all mangas, I know that for a fact. And this will be an interesting list of mangas to read from, so yeah. This time around, I had a lot of interesting reads, so I can't wait to share all of my thoughts on them. If you haven't watched the first episode, I'll link it above somewhere up top. The first manga I read is Kindergarten Wars. Rita is a former assassin who now works at a kindergarten. This kindergarten is not a normal one, and Rita is not a normal kindergarten worker. At this kindergarten, everyone who works is a former top criminal, and their job is to protect the children of the most powerful people in the world. Rita, however, has one weakness, and that is good-looking men. This manga involves comedy, action, and romance. I had a really fun time reading this first volume, and it was so entertaining right from the beginning. I actually read a couple of the chapters on Manga Plus a while ago. I had such a fun time reading this series, I would definitely continue on reading it. This volume 1 has me really excited for the anime that will come out in 2027. This series has 4 volumes and is ongoing. Next up, I have The Horizon. In this story, the world is in absolute chaos. After losing everybody that he loves, a young boy is left all alone. That is until he also finds a girl who is alone as well. Although they are both uncertain about the future, they keep moving forward. This story has a mix of horror, dystopia, and drama. There's still a lot about this story that I do not understand. There were times where the story felt a bit eerie and it was a bit uncomfortable to read. Despite that, I still had a good time reading this. I think the only time I would ever go back to this series is if I'm ever in a reading slump. I would like to give out some trigger warnings about this first volume. There is mention of assault, death, and quite a lot of violence. This series is completed with 3 volumes. Next up, I have Not Your Idol. After being assaulted at a fan meet and greet, Nina, a former idol of the group Pure Club, starts dressing like a boy. At school, she keeps to herself. That is until a fellow classmate named Hiraku starts to befriend her. However, there's a lot about Nina that we do not know. This manga has a mix of romance, contemporary, and mystery. This manga was such a roller coaster ride. There was so much that happened in volume 1. There is so much discussion about gender, what it means to be a woman, and the struggles that women face. This story delves into how women's clothing, appearance, and behavior all are a topic of discussion when it relates to assault. In this first volume, it was pretty hard to read because there were some girls that were clearly encouraging misogyny, and I could not stand that at all. This first volume also goes over how it's very hard for women to expose the men that have either abused or assaulted them. Volume 1 ends on a cliffhanger, and I would really love to go back into this once I'm done with this whole reading challenge. I would also like to give another trigger warning for this series. There is assault, self-exit, self-harm, and a lot of profanity. This manga series is 3 volumes and is ongoing. Next up, I have My Fiancé Cheated, But a New Love Rings. Sophia von Lotus is arranged to marry the Crown Prince. Although the Crown Prince shows much incompetence, Sophia is committed to her duties as the future Crown Princess. However, one day she catches her fiancé cheating on her with her younger sister. At this point, Sophia has had enough and she decides to escape. However, what she didn't expect was a knight, Sir Livoinus, to help her escape. This manga is a mix of slice of life, fantasy, and romance. I had a fun time reading in the beginning. However, towards the middle, I started to feel a bit confused and got a little bit bored too. There were some parts of the story that started to pique my interest, like for example, Sophia struggling to relate to any of her family members. There was a side story at the end that I really enjoyed. Overall, I think this is a great story. I'm not sure if I would finish out the whole series. I would have to read volume 2 to see if I still am interested. This series has 3 volumes and is ongoing. Next up, I have The Young Master's Revenge. When Leo was young, he befriended a young girl named Tenma who came from a wealthy background. However, this friendship led him to be humiliated more than once. Now that Leo's father has a successful clothing business, Leo only desires one thing, and that thing is to take revenge on Tenma. And how is he going to do that? By making her fall in love with him. This manga is a mix of contemporary, slice of life, and romance. I enjoyed the plot and I found it quite interesting. Tenma herself is a very interesting character as well. However, I do not think I would continue on reading this series. At first, it was cute to see him be so determined to take revenge on Tenma. However, as the story progressed, I felt as though the actions he was taking were a bit too much. I started to feel like there was really no point of him holding a grudge for so long, like 10 years. This series is completed with 4 volumes. And the last one on my list is Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. Kazusa joins a literature club at her high school. However, the novels that the group reads are much more mature than she realized. The group dives into discussions about intimacy, euphemisms, and questioning what would be the one thing they would want to do before they die. This series is a mix of romance, slice of life, and comedy. I felt uncomfortable reading this at the beginning. The girls in this story start to question and even ruminate about intimacy, which is normal. However, I just felt as though the way it was portrayed in this made it feel more uncomfortable. I think the plot was generally okay. There were many points while I was reading this that I wanted to just drop it, but I decided to just keep on going to see where it would go. I wouldn't continue on with this series, but I do think it is an interesting way of showing how high school girls, or girls at that age in general, or even earlier on, start to question about intimacy, their bodies. This series is completed with 8 volumes. I would also like to give some trigger warnings for this volume as well. There is mention, like I said, of intimacy and explicit content. And that is it for episode 2 of the mangas on my TBR. Yeah, there were a lot of uncomfortable reads in this. Really only 2, I would say. The others were pretty okay. I'm really glad that I even read them because now I know kind of how each story would probably pan out. I really want to continue on reading Not Your Idol because that one has been on my list for a while, and it seems like that series is taking a while to come out, so I'm in no rush to really go back into it. I'm very excited for Kindergarten Wars, the anime, to come out. The manga is great. I'm telling you, first volume is absolutely great. You see Rita literally just fawning over any hot guy that she sees, and it is just so cute. And even the children are so cute too as well. Like, they make a lot of funny jokes. If you all have read any of the mangas I mentioned, please let me know your thoughts on them, or let me know which manga has piqued your interest. That is it for this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.